That's how you write ads. It's all about framing and details. Details matter, but the sequencing of the details is incredibly important. And that's exactly how ads are written. That's exactly how law cases are won when they're argued in front of a judge. Details matter, but when to include them is vital. So Penny asked me, she said, honey, the staff and I and Jacob have been working super hard on these packages.
Yeah, the staff did most of it.
For the rental of the facility. And she gave me all this information, and she says, I just know that we need some help naming these packages. And so what I said, okay, what are you trying to accomplish? And I said, do you understand that when you bring me a problem and you make it my problem, I'm going to tell you the answer, and because you've made it my problem, I give you my answer to how to solve my problem. So I'm not going to defend this or debate this with anybody if you get me involved. I'm just going to tell you what to do. And she goes, yeah, I got it. I got that. I'm willing to do what you tell me. That's where we're at right now. And I thought, okay, fine. And so it took me a few hours. And one of the packages, as everybody knows, is the veranda room is right over there.
Yep.
And then the Fang and Feather whiskey tasting room is right over there at the end of the building. And I said, okay, we're going to call that the Lady and the Tramp.
It's good.
So the Lady and the Tramp is a wedding reception package. Now, step out the back door of our amazingly elegant veranda room, throw a rock, and it will land on one of the 3 decks of the Fang and Feather, the whiskey tasting room of YouTube's famous Crowded Barrel Distillery. During the reception, take a moment to visit each venue and see who chose to hang out at the Lady and who chose to hang out at the Tramp. We guarantee you'll be surprised. And so here's what's interesting. That is the opening shot.
Right.
And so I want you to notice, we talk about the importance of verbs. Step out. Throw a rock. And then it says, take a moment to visit each venue and see who chose to hang out at the This says, we guarantee you'll be surprised. Now these are the real hooks in that opening paragraph. Okay? Step out the back door of our amazingly elegant veranda room doesn't speak to us or our opinion. It speaks to the reader and a future experience. And so when a person is having an experience in their mind, and if it's an interesting experience that you're giving them in their imagination, they want to live that experience. They want to see if this is true. And I said, I'm going to promise you something. The number of people who come to see the venue after they've read this brochure, I promise you they will step out the back door and see if they could, in fact, throw a rock.
Right.
From the back door of the
As soon as you said it, I was like, I could probably
You were already imagining that, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I said, it will land on one of the 3 decks of the Fang and Feather, the whiskey tasting room of YouTube's famous Crowded Barrel Distillery. Whenever I said YouTube's famous, that's way better than world famous. You know why? World famous is an unsubstantiated claim.
Right.
YouTube's famous.
They can type it in.
Tells them exactly. They can go to YouTube. They can check this out. In other words, you can step out the back door and see if you can throw a rock. I don't need to say that, but I know they're thinking it. And I don't need to say, hey, do it. Go on YouTube and see if you type in whiskey and you'll see what I'm saying. I don't need to do that. I just need to say YouTube's famous Crowded Barrel Distillery. Now, then I say during your reception, take a moment to visit each venue. I guarantee everybody who buys this package, the bride and groom are going to go, oh, we're going to do that, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. You know, about halfway through the thing, we're going to want to chat with these people, they're going to wander over. And I guarantee they will be speculating on which of their friends will wind up hanging out at the Fang and Feather and which of their friends will wind up hanging out. They're going to speculate before they even buy the package. And then they're going to want to have that experience. They're going to want to actually do that. And so we guarantee you'll be surprised. That's the real hook. Does that make sense? And so more time and energy is spent right here on this first paragraph.
Right.
Right? And I say, anybody changes the word of that paragraph, I'll kill him. Because I fought to capture the angle of approach and the inclusion of detail and the imagined actions in the mind of the reader. And then I digress because now they're going to have a question about capacity. When you add the capacity of the veranda room with its private courtyard to the capacity of the Fang and Feather with its delightful 3 decks, you can easily accommodate 60 people indoors plus another 100 outdoors. Now Penny would go, wait a minute, but during a time of COVID, that's not true. And I'm going, no, this is the permanent copy.
Right.
All we have to do is add a little thing in red that says maximum occupancy according to the governor is currently
Sure.
50% of capacity.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
And then everybody knows, cut those numbers in half.
Right.
I don't need to change this.
Right.
And I said, now, then the next package says, under the oaks in front of the Fang and Feathers, the Grapes and Grain Beer and Wine Bar. This will be open during your party as well. Wait a minute, this is an additional thing besides the whiskey tasting room. Please note that Texas law prohibits guests from bringing their own alcohol. I need to get that off the table. See what I'm saying? Boom. Fortunately, we have a delightful variety available at Grapes and Grain in the Fang and Feather. So address and dismiss. That technique is called address and dismiss. I do want them to know they can't bring their own alcohol, but it doesn't take a long time to say that. But I turned the negative into a positive.
Right.
Now it's been dismissed. Now, we're going to have 2 notes. In the event of rain, because right now they're thinking, oh my gosh, more than 60 people and they have to be outside, what if it rains?
Right.
Now I anticipate this anxiety, which is why I speak to it now. I'm adding a detail, but only because I know that's going exactly the anxiety a person's going to be having at this point during
Right.
the reading.
When
At this
people
point
ask
during the
about
reading.
their outdoor wedding plans,
Exactly.
it's in the top 2 questions.
And then you say, in the event of rain, the front door of the veranda room. Wait a minute, we've already talked about what happens when you go out the back door, haven't we? You can throw a rock and hit the deck. Said, so the front door of the veranda room opens onto the huge covered veranda of the Welcome Center. Veranda room, huge covered veranda. When people get here, do they look at that and go, that is a huge covered veranda? You could put a crap ton of people under there. But please know that this space is also open to the public. Okay? Note number 2, if your rental is Monday through Thursday, your party will have exclusive access to the Fang and Feather Whiskey Tasting Room with its delightful trio of decks. If your rental is Friday through Sunday, the largest of those decks will be reserved for you and your party. But since the Fang and Feather is open to the public on those days, you will be sharing the tasting room and the other 2 decks with the wonderful fans of the Crowded Barrel Distillery. Address and dismiss. Now this is what I told Penny. I haven't edited the rest of the details of this yet because that's the stuff that's much less important. We can put in all the qualifiers and all the horse shit and whatever, right? I said, now, the second thing is that I popped out of my head. We were talking about the Crowded Barrel Distillery.
You said Monday through Thursday.
Oh yeah, pricing. Thank you. I said, we normally charge more for rentals on the weekends. But in this instance, I want to make it one price, no matter when you rent it.
Because you don't have exclusivity.
Bingo. Because if you get it Friday through Sunday, you're getting that room plus 1 deck over here. Okay, so you still have the increased capacity that you're looking for. And the reason these 2 venues were added together in the first place is because if a party's not nearly big enough for Tuscan Hall, but it's too big for the veranda room.
Right, we have capacity 200, we have capacity 50.
Right, so what happens if you have more than 50, but nowhere near enough to rent Tuscan Hall? Okay, and so somebody had the brilliant idea, and it was brilliant. Let's combine veranda with Fang
And that was Steph.
Fang and Feather. I'm going, that's the right decision. Absolutely the right decision. Can't believe we never thought of it. However, the way to package that, let's get away from the traditional thinking of charging more on the weekend. It's the same price on the weekend. Why? Even though everything else is more expensive on the weekend? Because you only have 1 deck that's reserved for you. Okay? Now, the other, well, we don't need to do that. Now let's look at the other package, because this one I actually wrote all the details for, okay? Now the other package is, and this one also needed a name, and Penny said everybody knows it needs a name, they're asking for help with a name. And I said, well, if I get involved, I'm gonna contribute more than a name. So, are you sure you want me to do this? She said, yes. I said, okay. But you understand the rules of how this works. Let me see if I can find this, because, okay, it's going to be over here then, under documents.
Oh, good, you don't have too many there.
There it is. Now, this one is a package sent out only for the lawn and the gardens surrounding Tuscan Hall, but it only is sent out 60 days before the date of the event. Because if we haven't rented Tuscan Hall 60 days prior to the event, it's not going to rent. Therefore, what do we want to offer people in this package, and what are we going to call it? And I said, now the first thing everybody has to keep in mind is, if a person wanted Chapel Dulcinea and it's completely booked up for the day they were hoping for, okay? They've never heard of anything out here except Chapel Dulcinea. Even if they've heard of Tuscan Hall, it doesn't occupy any real estate in their mind. And I said, so the subject line of this email that we're going to send out is going to be Chapel Dulcinea 60-day flash sale. Why? Because Chapel Dulcinea, they know what it is and they're interested in it. Anything else that would be in that subject line is the answer to a question no one was asking. So Chapel Dulcinea 60-day flash sale. A person's already tried to get to rent Chapel Dulcinea. It wasn't available. And now they see Chapel Dulcinea 60-day flash sale. They go, what the hell is that? The only thing I need this thing to do is get them to open the email. If the email is even remotely connected to the subject line, it's okay. And I'm saying, so we have to talk to the customer where they are right now. Therefore, I can't name it something that they're unfamiliar with. I have to name it what they are familiar with, which is Chapel Dulcinea 60-day flash sale. And then the email says, when you contacted us, Chapel Dulcinea was fully booked for the date you wanted. Happy day. The incredible grounds that surround our famous Tuscan Hall include an Italian marble gazebo that is perfect for outdoor weddings. Keep in mind that Tuscan Hall, now by the way, this is framing.
Right.
I want to make sure they understand the value of this $700 package.
Right.
Because $700 sounds like a lot of money for renting somebody's damn yard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so keep in mind that Tuscan Hall rents for $6,200 per day. But since you will not be serving a meal, you will not need access into the massive ballroom. I want to make it clear to them in the third sentence, you will not be serving a meal.
Right.
Because we are within 60 days of the event, a 3-hour rental of our spectacular Tuscan green space rental can be yours. Tuscan green space can be yours. That second rental doesn't need to be there. Because we are within 60 days of the event, a 3-hour rental of our spectacular Tuscan green space can be yours for only $700. Look at what your $700 will buy. Tuscan green space rental includes. And now we start listing. So we framed what we're talking about.
Right.
The framing is there. And the only thing, whenever I said, hey, Texas law prohibits you bringing your own alcohol, that was in the framing of the original opening sequence, right? On this one, I'm including, and you're not serving a meal.
Right.
You need to know you're not serving a meal. And because here's why. I understand it's a gigantic problem. A person thinks that they can come and do the whole thing in 3 hours. No, they can't. Their damn caterer is going to want to come in and set up 2 hours earlier.
Right. We've seen
And
that
it's
at
like,
the
"Oh,
partner
this
meetings.
just happens too often, and everybody goes, we don't understand why. Just shut the hell up. We just want to, you're not serving a meal.
Right.
Now, but what if a person really did want to serve a meal? I'm willing to let that happen. You just can't get it done in 3 hours. It takes 6 hours. Now, you're going to see that way down later. You know why? Because it doesn't need to be here yet. Tuscan green space rental includes imported Italian marble gazebo decoratively lit. 30 white wedding chairs on the lawn face the gazebo inside an elevated split-level garden surrounded by an incredible retaining wall. Extensive stone patio with waterfall and reflecting pool. Tables and chairs line the patio, complete with outdoor bar with bartender provided, including 3 complimentary bottles of champagne. Additional alcohol must be purchased through our on-site grapes and grain. And so that's the place to talk about additional alcohol. Must be purchased.
Right.
At the opposite end of the stone patio from the marble gazebo is the split-level garden in the equally fabulous, in the split-level garden is the equally fabulous Tuscan Terrace, with its sidewalks winding through the trees under which are elegant tables and chairs, along with an alternative outdoor bar positioned across from an open-air presentation area featuring a massive 350-year-old Spanish fortress door, along with a miniature cathedral, complete with a breathtaking stained glass window from a church built in 1887. You also get, and so the longer we list cool things that are included, they go, oh, gee, that sounds really amazing. And so what happens is, notice, an incredibly important choice of words, an alternative outdoor bar. Alternative outdoor bar. Here's why. They're only getting one bartender.
Right.
They're getting one bartender.
Choose where you want them.
Now, there's 2 bars. If we said you also get a second bar, they can assume reasonably there's a second bartender.
Right.
No.
Yes.
You get a bartender, and you have a bar, and you have an alternative bar. Okay, so the word alternative is the only thing we need to do. We don't need to drill down on you only.
Right.
It's like, no. You have a bar, and you have an alternative bar, and we provide a bartender. So we can leave out all the whining,
Right.
clarifications, because before they give us money, they have to click a little button that says, I've read and agree with the terms and conditions. Now, we don't care if they read it or not. We just cared that they clicked that they read it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because that's, as a matter of fact, has anybody ever read when you're getting ready to download an update?
Yeah,
software?
I don't think it's feasible.
One person, I don't know if anybody in the history of the world's ever said.
I don't think the company has read it.
It says, yeah, I read and agree with these 600-page document
Right.
in totally, geek speak.
Right.
Nobody ever reads that. You just
Right.
click, read and agree, and you download, right? Now,
It's a time-honored tradition.
you also get an on-site venue manager who will also be responsible for breakdown and cleanup. When your party is over, simply remove the items that you, your guests, and or vendors brought into the space. We will take care of the rest. Smiley face. Note, the 3-hour, $700 rental of Tuscan Court, the Tuscan Green Space is what that needs to say. See, I'm still editing.
Yep.
Does not allow for food to be served. If you plan to include catering, you will need a 6-hour, $1,400 rental. So, first we told them, nope, you're not going to have food, but they still keep reading. Well, I'm sure we can work something out, they're thinking, right? When we get down to the bottom, it's like, here's how we work that out.
Right.
It's not a thing we debate. If you're serving food, it takes 6 hours. Because your idiot caterer is going to want time to set up and everything, and guess what? If you give us $1,400, we become a lot more understanding. For 7, no. You're not serving food. And so additional add-ons. Additional white wedding chairs, $5 each. Chair sash rentals, $1 each. S'more stations, $2 per guest. And then here it says link to reservation and checkout page.
Right.
Now, Penny says there's a huge amount of controversy over whether or not there should be a hidden page, et cetera. I said, well, there's no controversy. Never talk yourself out of letting people give you money. And I said, if they read this and they want to take action, they click a link. Here's the details. Right. Here's a button that says, I read and agree with the details.
Right.
And then you give us the date that you want to book and the hours that you choose. So choose one of these options. And as soon as you give us a credit card number and that bitch clears,
Right.
you're scheduled.
So partners, now you get to see where Jake comes in. Roy writes it all, and then I figure out how to make that happen.
Exactly, and I'm saying, so now what happens is so they click this link,
Right.
it takes them to a thing, and,
Right.
and Penny goes, well, what if somebody gives that link to somebody else? And I said, then they get to give us $700. I just don't give a shit. But they don't get to give us $700 until we're only 60 days out.
Yeah, I'll build that.
And it's called a Dutch auction. If somebody wants to wait to see if it's still available 60 days out so they can get it cheaper, I don't care. If it's not rented, and by the way, the $700 doesn't give them Tuscan Hall.
Right.
It only gives them the lawn. And if they want to serve food on the lawn,
And this is the same sort of thing that I imagine clients are concerned about, where they don't want to be taken advantage of.
Everybody's always worried about what if. And I'm going, yeah, I don't want to keep people from giving me money. And the downside of making it a multi-step process is much more expensive
I still
than
remember
the
to this
downside
day,
of making it easy.
there was a mosquito person with a guarantee that he was required by franchise to honor. And he was basically saying, yeah, I don't really honor that because there's people that are there to just take advantage of you. And there's this real self-righteousness that comes from, I don't ever want to be scammed by any customer ever. And it's like, that's the price of doing business, right? There are people who walk into McDonald's and they use your bathroom and they don't buy a burger. And that's called being in business. And I think that you're kind of talking about this in terms of designing things. How do you overcome those objections with clients when they say, oh, there's going to be
No, listen, with a
XYZ.
client, because it's not my business. Because I don't own it.
Yeah.
With a client, I go, hey, look, here's how much that's going to cost you, but if you're sure that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. I think it's a really bad decision, but you're the boss. And then if they said, yeah, I'm going to stick with this, most of the time, at least 9 times out of 10, 6 months or a year later, then they'll say, I probably should have listened that day, because what I've learned since then is I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. And so you tell them, here's why that's a horrible idea, but this is your business, not mine. Therefore, if that's what you want to do, I can respect that. I'll even try to make it work. However, I think we're on the wrong track, but it's your call. And then you drop it. You just drop it. And then you just let it be what it is.
So don't bring it up again.
So here's the point. What we've talked about now is framing, which is angle of approach. So you zoom in really close with the thing that matters most. And as you pull back, you include more and more and more tangential details.
Right.
Now, understanding what is tangential and why it's tangential is made more clear when you keep in mind one thing. You cannot take a person where you want them to go until you meet them where they are. And the key is to get their attention and then keep their attention and leave out the parts they would skip. And so when they're now sold, when I talk to clients, I talk about two different conversations. I said the job of marketing is not the job of making sure that everybody knows all the details. The job of marketing is to begin a conversation that the customer wants to continue. And so marketing is the first part of these packages. That's just the first 3 paragraphs. That's marketing. Something that I could literally read in 30 to 60 seconds. Out loud. Okay, I could read it out loud in 30 to 60 seconds. That's the marketing part. And the sale I'm trying to make is to cause them to go, I'm interested enough to keep reading. So I'm just trying to make one sale. Do you want to continue this conversation? That's the only sale I want to make in marketing. And I said, now in the retail business, everything else becomes sales counter conversation. And I said, now that they're here, now that they've chosen
that's
what
when
they're
you bring in
definitely interested
Ryan.
That's when you bring in all of the different details. But even in that moment, even when you're having the sales counter conversation, they're definitely interested. You have to go through the same process. The first thing I have to do is get them to see themselves having an event here and to get excited about it. Once the hook is firmly set in the mouth of the fish and they're on the line and they've chosen to do this, only then can you start bringing up, there's a few little details here. And anything that would be tedious or boring or off-putting or frustrating, that's the fine print you talk about right before they sign on the dotted line. If you bring it up too soon, now you're having a debate, you're causing doubts, they're not quite so sure, and you don't want to do that. You want them to be completely on board, completely sure, and very excited before you ever bring up anything except huge deal breakers. The huge deal breaker you address and dismiss, kick it to the curb. But all
there will be no meal.
All the little, there will be no meal, and you ain't bringing your own alcohol. Those are like, you need to know that really quickly. But it can be addressed and dismissed very quickly, early, right? Now the other stuff, you leave for across the sales counter after they've chosen to buy the product or service. And so what happens is staff, always, every staff in America, they understand the crap that they have to do every day. And they want to put all that in the marketing. And we want people to know that before they get here. And I'm going, no. If we try to tell them that before they get here, they won't come. They won't come. And so what happens is framing what's going to be included in that opening shot and what's going to be excluded. How close are we going to get? What are we going to focus on? And from what angle are we going to approach it? And then as we pull back, what is the sequence of things we're going to include? And then what's included just before they sign and give us their money. Those are the things that we need to touch on, but once they've already made the decision, they'll power through that stuff. But you don't surprise them with the big deal breaker right at the end. You deal with the deal breakers early.
So the deal breaker is in the middle, is what I'm hearing. Not at the very beginning and not at the very end.
Yeah, the deal breaker is dealt with quickly, but not before they decide they're really interested.
Okay, so the upper middle.
Upper middle, yeah. First thing is to do is to cause them to imagine doing this and participate in doing this in their mind and be excited about this possibility. And then if there is one thing that you need to address and dismiss, then bring it up. Because if that really is a deal breaker and they can't get past it, then we're done because we can't get past it either. See what I mean? And so there's maybe one of those. Sometimes there's not even one.